Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do on our 1921 project is we're going to take apart our barrel assembly. It's pretty easy to do, but I'll show you there's some pitfalls that'll get you on this. First thing we want to do is we want to flip up our lever, rotate our magazine tube about 30-45 degrees, and then we should be able to pull up. That will expose this pin that retains our magazine cap. And I will say that you want to capture this. Hold it with your finger, because on the back side, back here, as you go to ease this off, it'll be right opposite of this. There's a ball detent in here and a spring. So kind of put your thumb over it. You can see where the spring is now. And you can take your magazine spring out. And right in here is where I was telling you, that little spring, and there's a detent in here that locks this into place. I will let you know I have launched that little spring across my shop multiple times, and you pretty much just got to cut a new one if you lose it. So now we have our magazine cap. We have our retaining pin, the little detent, and you will have a spring, but as you see when I took it out, it launched out. So no big deal. We'll locate it, or I'd usually take one of these out of an AR-15 kit. The takedown detent spring, I have one of those. Just cut it off and make what I need. It fits in there. Actually a little bit loose, but it'll give the spring pressure to the detent, because finding original springs for this is impossible because they're not even listed on the parts diagram. Alright, so with that apart, next thing we're going to do is you have a screw on each side of the magazine carrier. You're just going to remove those. And with that out of the way, this little piece here can be driven straight out. It's just dovetailed in. Use a brass punch for that. Just tap this piece out. And that'll allow you to turn your magazine. Allow you to turn your magazine tube, and you'll be able to pull the whole thing off. So that gives you your barrel. You do have a tooth section here. Definitely want to make sure that you make a mark on the barrel or note to where this is going to be, because you have to put this back in the very exact same orientation. Once we have this portion free, the magazine tube, you can just slide your little collar right off the end. And this tube is actually keyed in here, so you can turn it to a certain way. You can remove your retaining nut. That'll slide right off the front. And then, like I said, this is keyed. You'll see there's a key section here with a corresponding section in here. With that loose, you can take your fore-end wood off that we're going to have to go in and dress up. And you have your retaining collar. And then you have your pump action bar that goes back into your receiver. The only other thing we have in here left is our magazine. It's our magazine plug. Comes out, you can see where the little marks are from where this was punched out, catching the magazine plug. Alright, and that's basically the barrel. You can remove the bead. I don't know if this one's glued in there or not. We'll see. Once you get them loose, they will generally turn out, and I always like to take the beads out because they're a pain to actually blue around, and then you don't want your bead to be blue as well.